Ed with Outlaw LED by Robby Gordon. I'm here to introduce to you our new OSRAM lighting. Definitely the highest quality you're going to find out there on the market today, and with the best value. We're going to be installing on the Yamaha here a 40-inch curved light bar and 2 pods up here on the pillars. And we're going to go through all the procedures and things we need over this way. A couple tools you might need is a couple drill bits, 2 sockets, and 2 hand wrenches. And you're going to need a 14mm socket and a 14mm wrench, 1/2 inch wrench, and a 1/2 inch socket. Next thing you know is a pair of pliers that are curved a little bit are really helpful in mounting the brackets on the top. A screwdriver would be fine. Over here are going to be the pods. These pods are going to go on the pillar mounts. And what's going to come in here, you're going to get a couple pillar mount brackets. You're going to get all the mounting hardware you need. All plug and play wiring harnesses. So all you do is get the plug and play when you're done. All the bracket necessary hardware's in here. Bring that all out and show you as we go. Most importantly is this custom made wiring harness that we have designed for the Yamaha. First one of its kind that we know of. Here's your relay. These are your battery terminal connectors, your fuse. When you come down here, we're going to bring this in here. This one here is going to run to your passenger side headlight. You're going to unplug the high beam, plug ours into it, and plug your high beam into this one. That's going to allow you to turn on all 3 lights at one time. First, I'm going to show you what we're going to do here. Here's a set of the brackets. This is designed to have 2 brackets. What happened is this bracket here in my right hand, this one will end up going up here in the frame where you detach these 2 1.5 Allens. You're going to detach the screws here. You're going to slide this in there, put it back on. Then we're going to drill a couple holes right through here, through the top. Then we'll be drilling newer holes, put this one on top. And that's how we're going to connect this together. So let's get started. But you are simply going to put it up in here and break the bolts loose. And if you have a power Allen, this is much nicer to do it with it, but this works just fine. You completely remove the both Allens, bolts, then we're gonna slide that bracket in here. This here, we're just gonna put the screwdriver in here, just kind of bend it out a little bit so you can slide the bracket in. The bracket is designed to sit flush with your roof. So when it's up with the roof, you're pretty much there. Yeah, if you want some more room to get in here, I'm just fighting with it because there's very little room. Just you undo all the screws on the top. Here, just undo and take the top off, and you got plenty of room to get in there and line it up and see what you're doing. I'm just fighting it a little bit. I'm here alone installing it and didn't want to take it all apart. Now that we've completed mounting the inside bracket inside and tightening it and really torquing it down, it is your frame. We have that all mounted up. Now we're going to take a small drill bit and just drill a pilot hole. The pilot hole, there's 2 holes here already in the original frame. You're going to go up through it, but as you do, I want you to go up and turn it in as far as you can. This is because we don't want to send your bolt hole too far to the right. So how I've accomplished it is just by going up and just letting the thing lay back in it, just to get a little pilot hole. So instead of going straight, we get them through both. And when it goes to the plastic, we want to just do that. Now, change drill bits. We go to our little pilot holes up here. These holes aren't going to be dead on. You're in the inside of those holes because you came out on an angle. And don't worry, your brackets cover all this. So you'll find real quick, just going just inside the hole, just a hair, and you're through. Now you're going to see here, your bracket covers anything. Very big. Anything you have there is covered up. So meanwhile, we're going to mount this. The trick to this one, for me, is getting the first screw, and I put the bolt in, put it through both of them like that. Now, this is going to be the tricky tool that you might want to invest in, or a bent screwdriver or something. This works great for me. I put my nut in here. It's a lock nut. We put it in there nice and tight. Now that's going to allow me to get underneath here, line up my hole under my nut.
Hold. Let me see if I can get that shot.
And I just torqued it down. And that's how I accomplished mine. I can hold it tight with it. pretty well in there. And that's it. She's mounted up. And it's not going anywhere. Now just repeat the same exact thing on the other side. Make sure they're both in there nice and strong and you'll be good to go. Now we're just gonna set the light bar. Mount the brackets on here now. That's a little bit easier. I'm gonna grab a 14mm wrench. Put it inside and... So the holes will line up here, keep it here. It keeps it inside your fender, but out of your view. What else is important about the way we've designed this is your light's on top, but it's not any higher than your car. It's much lower than your car. Your light's here on the outside. This is going to allow you to put later on to put a windshield in it, and we're not obstructing any view. And it just makes it for a lot of different options on the front here that are wide open and we're not interfering with anything. Next thing we do is just put these back in here. And if you like, you can go back over it with the torque wrench and torque her all down, but she's tight there. The next thing I'm gonna do is the other side. All the brackets now are completely mounted, and now we're just gonna get into the wiring of it and setting the lights in first. We'll start off with the pod lights here and some of the hardware comes with it. So now, your pod lights, your bracket's already in here. What you're going to do is just put your mounting bolt in first. So that's already there. I just throw this on just so I don't lose it for now. Just prevents me from losing it. You can line up your holes on your bracket through the end here. Once you do, I simply take the bolt, lock side down, set it in there, and I just let it fall in. Now, if you do it that way, drop in your Allen screw, and that's baby is in there. Now, the bracket will swivel all the way down. In this case, I want the cord going out the back, so I'm just going to pull it through. There we go. So that baby is now ready to go. Now, the other thing we did here, on these here, we're going to use an all flood pattern. It's a 90-degree wide angle flood for your pillar lights, and we're going to show you why. Well, we're going to show you why this is better. We're going to put a rubber mount here that comes with it. Okay. We're going to put this in the hole. The bracket will fall down in there, the entire thing. If you look at the side in here, just put the lock washer back on, the nut, and you're good to go. Now, the best way to do these things, you can tighten this up at any time. What we like to do, I prefer to do, is I like bringing my light literally that far. Some people don't like going out that far. We like the wide angle so we can really see to the right and left, because the light we're putting on top, we're going to see more than we need. We really need some light to the right and left, so that's how I'm going to mount mine. A lot of people, you'll see them mount them straight or just a little angle, but that's completely up to you. So we'll just get it finished mounted, and for now, we'll just put her in and tighten her up and move on to the next one. Next, come on, ready.
There we go.
The next thing you're going to do is pick up the two screws that came with the light bar. Take the light bar and install this. Typically, it's always better to have a little help. I seem to do most everything myself. So, I'm just going to show you how I do it alone. Okay, we're just finishing up the last bolt here on the light bar. There's only two go across the top, so just get it mounted in there. Get the angle that you think you want. It's very little adjustment in it, but I think that's pretty good for the first time. I'll snug the other side, and then you can always adjust it. You're going to be adjusting this thing later down the road when you got night and you put your light where you want it and you really decide exactly where you want it. You can keep adjusting it, but then what I like to do when I know that's where I want it is take one out at a time, one side, put some Loctite on it, put it back in and crank her down, and do the same with the other. But don't do that until after your light bar is exactly where you want it and you're not going to move it. And then that way she's going to stay there, never come off. So everything's looking good so far. Now we got our lights and our pods on here. Now we're going to go through the wiring and how we're going to run and where we're going to run our wiring, and we can do that now. So for now, I'm going to start our wiring process, but right here we're going to just take this. There's plenty of room in this plastic. If you have to, you can move it around a little bit, but just pop it right through. It's going to come down out this end. We'll put a zip tie in here later. Underneath here, if you look close down into here, what we're going to end up doing is putting the cable on, but all we do is push it up into the system up here, and it just drops right down into the hole. So now it's back in here in this compartment. Very easy, nothing to take off. Next one here, there's a lot of different ways to run it. How we've designed this one to do is we're just gonna run this thing down. You can run it in here or out here, either way you want. Some people custom, go through their bars and all that. We don't do that here on the installs, but you can drill holes and do that if you wanted to. Meantime, we're just gonna bring this down, bring out the fender a little bit, and if you have to, just unbolt this, which I'll do that just so I protect it. So for now, piece of plastic pops right back in, put the bolt in, but most important is both wires are now into your wheel well there. Just tighten this back up. Next thing we're going to do is come over here and we're going to take this hood off. To get started, the hood off, then we're going to hook the battery terminals up next. What I need to do to get the wiring harness is to take this off. I don't look exactly. Yep, here we go. So here, she's just going to pop right off here. That whole console pops off and it just clicks right in. It's really kind of convenient. So here's your battery and your connectors. What we're going to do is put the wiring harness through here. I will get that and we'll start showing you how we're going to get it all the way to the front from the battery. Take the wiring harness and I take the ends that go into the battery and I just put it back here. That's where we're going to leave it for now. I'm going to get the rest of this harness. I'm going to straighten it all out here down to a loop like this. Sometimes put a little tape on here is a little easier. We'll try it without it at first. But right in the center here, all the wires of the vehicle come right down through here. So all I do, and your whole wiring harness, everything is, I just give it a little push there, and you can see them on the top on the inside. And we're just going to simply pull them down. Now I'm doing it alone, with help's much easier, but here comes the wires. Okay. Now remember, here's our 3 fittings. One's right, one's left, and this one goes to your light bar. So we need 2 of them to come with me to this side of the car. I'm going to bring these 2 over here. You can just reach up in here and feed them to yourself. Okay, got it. So these are the 2 cables. Got the plastic off there. Okay, now you're simply going to plug in the one light here. She's plugged in. Now we're going to plug in the light bar right here. Now, just send one at a time up on the top here. Remember we talked about earlier, just pushing them through? Just push the wires through. Now I'm just going to click on the light like we did the other side. And it's all snapped in and clipped in, and now just throw it back under that fender well, and we've got plenty of room there. Next thing to do is your headlight. So, from here, you can take off the front, work your way down. You're gonna need to get it over here to your passenger's headlight. We're gonna use a 10mm here just to undo this, and it just allows the plastic to lift up. Sometimes you don't have to, but in this case, it just makes it easier to feed our wire through. We're just gonna bring it down and feed it through. Now, I'm gonna go on the right side of this bolt, so it keeps it away from the radiator. Not that it would hurt it, but we're just gonna keep it away from it, and then just put it right back in. So you're gonna plug it into the one with the outside headlight here. I've now tracked it down. I know which one it is. So here, in this case, I'm just gonna use a screwdriver so far in here to push the pin in. Let's see if this will work. So I just unplugged it. Now for our wires coming down here, what we're going to do is plug. You can only do it one way, so line up your little clickers here, and we just plug that in. Now the one that used to come here is going to plug into our wiring harness. Okay, figure out how that one goes. Oh, there it is. So now that's clipped in, they're both clipped in. These are using the same factory plug and play that Yamaha provides. We've got the same exact ones that plug right into it. So now we have just plugged in to the relay of the high beam, and that will activate our light. So all we got to do now is connect up the battery and put it back together. Tighten her back up, and that's good. Now we're going to do the positive side. Get it back on. Put back on and place this stuff anywhere you like. So now everything sits in here nice and just like it was originally. So I think we're ready to go. Let's give it a try. Remember, I did this whole thing myself in about a half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. You had a little help, you could probably do it in 10 or 15. Okay, I'd just like to thank you once again for joining me today and seeing how we install our 40-inch curved all-spot light bar. That's 8 degrees. You get no reflection on your hood. We have our floods here that are 90. Like I said, you can go straight with them or you can point them out, maneuver them where you like. You'll do that when you get out on the dirt. Next thing is I'll give you a little rundown. When you turn the ignition on now, just put the key in, turn the ignition on, turn your headlights on, and then turn your high beams on, and your whole thing's lit up. And you can back out and check it out and see what you guys think of this now. Now do we have enough light? You're never going to complain about light again. I want to thank you for joining me again. My name's Ed, Outlaw LED. Please see your local dealer and be happy to get you set up on your Yamaha. And you are just going to have a ton of fun and you enjoy your ride. Thank you.